Sevhead Creative at sevhead.com presents the audio web series Epyphany, Born from the Sea, written and produced by Don Sev Severance and narrated by Professor Proteus. Episode 8, Chapter 19, Enlightened Strategy. During the rescue, Blyss received the tribe's distress signal as a powerful thought bundle. She wasn't surprised. In her extensive study of the silver tablets, she had discovered a similar scenario foretold. Instinctively, Blyss relayed the signal to the gold tower, but in retrospect, she realized she wasn't exactly transmitting information to the tower, but something more profound. Blyss unconsciously became one with the gold tower. She could feel the scene in real time, not seeing, just doing. It was similar to sending a long-distance mind cloud, but on a much grander scale. She became a force of nature, managing physics and electricity in unimaginable ways. Yet, unlike the wild, random power of a hurricane or tornado, she was a sentient, spiritual force with intention. After dealing with the massive factory ship, Blyss was left physically and mentally exhausted. This wasn't an activity she could sustain daily. She would need a strategy, an organized way of inflicting as much chaos on the adversary as possible while maintaining the health and welfare of both herself and the tribe. The dolphin slaughter, the ensuing events, and the emotional urgency had triggered an intense symbiotic union between Blyss and the gold tower. It was a mystical merging of flesh with Earth's most precious element, a magical amalgam of spirit and pure energy. Blyss was determined to find the key to recreating the phenomenon at will. Now that the transition was in play, events would continue to accelerate, and Blyss knew Thoreau would be key to its success. Thoreau's love for Epyphany was genuine, so displacing his memory had been challenging. Although Blyss knew her mind cloud had succeeded, she hoped it wasn't too successful. Excited by her enhanced connection to the tower, Blyss began to consider a path she had never imagined possible. Perhaps she could nudge Thoreau's subconscious, loosening the chains binding his memories of Ujjayi and Epyphany. After all, he had been a remarkable student with an undeniable aptitude for the language of Ujjayi and a true connection to their world. Maybe the sound of the sword would trigger some memories. She mused, "Music is zooming around the atmosphere, bouncing off satellites and making its way around the world every waking moment. I just need to figure out a technique to deliver my music to Thoreau." Weary yet restless, she walked slowly toward the tower, feeling its power beckoning her. Blyss ascended the ramp, quieting her mind with each step. As she passed beneath the arch and climbed the stairs, she felt her connection to the tower intensify, the resonance growing stronger with every measured movement. The cavern, the pool, the waterfalls, all dissolved into silence. She was no longer aware of the world around her. When she reached the smooth golden podium, she dropped into the lotus position and remained in perfect stillness. Above, a massive spiral coil descended from the cathedral ceiling, its slow rotation catching the ambient light. Blyss carefully withdrew her sword from its case and let her fingers find the first notes. A melody emerged, filling the space with delicate tendrils of sound. The coil responded, emitting a soft hum as it spun. A faint vibration stirred beneath her, deepening into a low-frequency pulse. Moments later, a secondary oscillation wove through the first, sustaining a middle note. Layer by layer, the harmonics fused with her improvisation, each note shaping and being shaped by the tower's unseen forces. She lost herself in the music. The cavern temple became a resonant chamber for something ancient and unspoken, its walls vibrating with a haunting, ethereal beauty. Time unraveled, slipping away unnoticed. Blyss played on, untethered by the sound. Unbeknownst to her, Blyss had found both the doorway and the key. The doorway to communion with the tower and the key to Thoreau's buried memories. On the other side of the planet, Thoreau was alone, listening to some late-night rhythm and blues. A week had passed since he rejected Sajah's offer, and he still hadn't spoken to her. There was no doubt in his mind about his choice. He could never be a pawn in Pisces' deadly game. But he missed her. Thoreau was about to ask Samu to switch the station when the R&B mix faded into some very chill world music. He found it vaguely familiar, though he couldn't place where he had heard it. It was odd. He was instantly soothed. Laying back in his chair, he put his feet up and began to truly relax for the first time in weeks. Thoreau closed his eyes as the music massaged his weary soul. His mind drifted. A sliver of a smile formed as all the muscles in his face loosened. With his head tilted back and his arms draped over the sides of the chair, he felt like he was floating in a warm sea. He could almost hear the sound of the distant surf. Images began to drift into his semi-conscious mind. He was surrounded by sea creatures. A huge whale surfaced near him. A beautiful sailfish sliced through the waves. A dolphin playfully nudged him. There was a menacing-looking alligator circling. An amusingly large pelican swooped down, and then suddenly the face of a strangely beautiful woman appeared. Large green and gold eyes held his gaze. Sad and pleading, they pierced his soul. She was trying to speak, but he couldn't hear her. As he reached out to her, he thought he heard his name echoing. Thoreau, Thoreau. The vision faded. He woke from his trance. Thoreau, wake up! Samu was paging him. You have a visitor. Sajah is boarding the ship. Chapter 20. The Last Straw. The onboard security cameras tracked Sajah's movements, and Thoreau felt tension creep back into his body as he watched her determined advance on the monitor. He spoke softly. Samu, close up, please. The camera zoomed in, revealing an expression on Sajah's face that only deepened Thoreau's confusion. He wondered aloud, is that a smile? What could it mean? Am I forgiven or forsaken? In the week that followed Thoreau's disappointing response to her offer, Sajah found herself unable to concentrate, her mind unable to settle on a new plan. She missed him terribly, but every time she imagined seeing him, she was overwhelmed by rage. Accustomed to getting her way, Sajah had never developed the tools to deal with rejection. Her first instinct was to fight. She knew it wasn't rational, but she took it personally. By rejecting Pisces, Thoreau was rejecting her. One moment she wanted to destroy his career, and the next she longed for his touch. Part of her believed she could win his trust, steering Pisces toward responsible stewardship of the oceans. But another part of her, the part concerned with quarterly profits and market dictates, would dismiss those idealistic notions. She knew he was good for her. He had been so very fine in bed. It was driving her mad. When Thoreau met her on deck, Sajah began the conversation the same way she had ended their last. Don't speak. Please don't say a word. Thoreau thought, she certainly didn't come dressed for a fight. Sajah wore a light, translucent, full-length sweater jacket with a beautiful hand-painted design. The flowing lines of peacock feathers trailed off to the sides, opening in the front to reveal a shimmering silk halter top with a plunging neckline. Her skin-tight miniskirt hugged low on her hips. As she approached him, the firm muscles of her long legs flexed under the dim light. Her ample breasts swayed freely, accentuating each deliberate step until she stopped abruptly in front of him. Throwing both arms back, Sajah shrugged her smooth shoulders, letting the jacket slip to the floor. By this time, Pisces Corp and its environmental policies were far from Thoreau's thoughts. Standing almost eye-level in 6-inch stiletto heels, Sajah tilted her head and took Thoreau's hand, placing it inside her halter top. A shiver of raw desire shot up his spine. With his other hand, he pulled her roughly off her feet. One of her high heels clattered to the floor. His hand slid from her breast to the back of her neck as she wrapped her legs around his waist. The other shoe dropped to the deck with a dull thud. She looked him in the eyes, her mouth open, waiting. Thoreau kissed her, a long, deep kiss that made her moan with pleasure. With Sajah clinging tightly, he carried her slowly to the bedroom. Hours passed as they made love repeatedly, not a single word spoken between them. Thoreau finally dozed off. When he awoke, he saw Sajah's silhouette in the morning sun as she dressed. He lay there quietly, watching her slender form move gracefully through the sunlight. As the fog lifted from his sleepy mind, he began to recall the evening's events. Still watching, he found it strange they hadn't spoken. A strange melody escaped his lips, and Sajah froze, momentarily paralyzed by the disquieting tune. She had planned to leave unnoticed, but now it was too late. Thoreau was puzzled. He vaguely remembered relaxing to some exotic music before Sajah's late-night visit, but he still couldn't place its origin. Her reaction to his humming only deepened the mystery. She appeared to be trembling. Thoreau needed to talk. Once again, he tried to break their silence, and once again, she silenced him with a wave of her hand. Sajah thought, "I guess I'll have to change my plan and do this in person." In a steely, cold voice, she finally spoke. "I have considered my options and made my decision. There are only 2 viable paths for us. Either you join me at Pisces and we continue to grow our partnership, or you lose this unique opportunity and throw away this beautiful relationship. It's all or nothing." After an intense and stimulating night of such erotic intimacy, Thoreau was stunned. How could she give herself to me so lovingly and completely through the night, then deliver this cold-blooded ultimatum in the morning light? He thought, it's not that simple. There must be some middle ground. He hated the thought of losing her. She was complex and driven, but he could live with that. In fact, he enjoyed that about her. Why couldn't she see this was not all about business? Her voice grew louder. "Go ahead, Thoreau. Choose now. Without me, what do you have? Your research, your travels, the geeky, dim-witted fangirls? I know you, and you need me, someone to challenge you, an equal. Don't throw this away on principles, Thoreau. You're right, I want you. I love all that we are together. But why must you try to own me? You are lost, Sajah. You've lost your identity. You can't separate yourself from your company. And if you and Pisces are a package deal, I have to say no. You and I could do great things, but you've got it backwards. If you follow your heart, you might lose your standing in the company, but there is so much to gain. Are you afraid to lose your title, your status, your corrupt father's approval? Well, that is the cost of principle over profit, and if you're not willing to pay that price, Sajah, we are lost. Sajah finished dressing in silence. Then she spoke. Samu? Yes, Sajah. He's all yours. I believe he holds my title. Therefore, technically, I am all his. Hear that, Thoreau? Looks like you found the perfect woman. Good luck screwing your robot. Sad and angry, Thoreau responded weakly. She's not a robot. She's a magnificent ship. And she probably has a warmer heart than you. You will see just how cold my heart is. Sajah turned and walked out of his life. Thoreau sunk back into his pillow and closed his eyes. The haunting melody returned like a gentle ocean breeze, soothing his anger. Listening to the mysterious lullaby, he surrendered to the melody and fell into a peaceful sleep. Chapter 21. Dream Melody. Lost in the sound of the beautiful melody, Thoreau slept late into the morning. The vibrations of an unfamiliar instrument from a distant place had pierced through time and space, enveloping him in music as he dreamed. When he awoke, he felt refreshed and exhilarated, as if a fog had lifted, revealing a world bright with possibilities. Although Sajah was gone, and he knew he should feel remorse or at least conflicted, instead he felt incredibly light-hearted and energized. Thoreau knew what he must do, though he wasn't sure why. In his control room, Thoreau prepared for a long voyage. Unsure how long he would be gone, he instructed Samu to double-check the complete inventory and to double the usual supply levels. His ship was equipped with a small-scale, fully automated hydroponic system that could grow a healthy supply of vegetables almost indefinitely. With the Samudra Hantu's state-of-the-art energy resource and recycling capacity, Thoreau calculated that he could stay at sea for over a year if needed. As Thoreau readied himself for the extended excursion, he found himself drifting into brief daydreams. Visions of waterfalls and tropical forests filled his mind. He imagined swimming in a crystal-clear lagoon or scaling rocky cliffs with breathtaking views. Occasionally, he was jolted from his reverie by the faces of 3 uniquely beautiful, intriguing women, faces both familiar and alien. With only a few loose ends to tie up, Thoreau would be ready to depart within a couple of days. He had recently fulfilled his speaking engagements, and his separation from Sajah had freed him from a long list of social commitments. He thought, funny how a commitment to one person ties you to so many strangers. You don't think, I've fallen for this woman, and now I have to interact with all these people with whom I have nothing in common. He smiled. I guess there are some upsides. But for now, I'm free of distractions with a new world to discover. The mysterious far-off echo in his mind now sounded much closer. Dripping with sweat and completely out of breath, Blyss abruptly stopped playing and slid the swall gently back into its case. She blinked several times, looking around the cavern temple. She knew where she was, but for a moment she didn't know when she was. Blyss was reminded of that first day when she'd found herself sitting under the arch of the gold tower with a silver tablet in her hand. Slowly, it came back to her, being drawn to the tower, the music and the vibration. It was like a flying dream, untethered and floating in the music. She had felt Thoreau, tense and conflicted on his ship, struggling to sort out his feelings. Then, momentarily, the music found him. But the connection broke. She sensed Sajah's anger and the heat of their passion as it drowned out the squall. Blyss didn't stop. She kept playing. The gold tower fueled a spiritual passion in her, equal to the couple's ill-fated and forlorn desire. Blyss persevered. Her music had broken through, and she would regain the connection at all costs. She would not stop. When Sajah left, Blyss felt her music fill Thoreau's dreams. She continued to play, nourishing his soul and renewing his connection to his true home. We thank you for listening to another installment of this series. There are many more chapters to come, so we hope you subscribe and hit the bell so you can continue to join Epyphany and her tribe as they navigate the stormy seas into the transition.